Hello, welcome back. Working on the Golf today. I've had an engine lift kit for absolutely ages for the Golf, and I've never actually got around to doing it. Now it's like it's still pre-MOT time, and I've got a leak on the water bottle, and I was just trying to sort of diagnose it. And the result was I ended up taking out a couple of the items, like the reservoir, the power steering reservoir, the coolant reservoir, things like that. All the reservoirs are out the way, and I just figured, you know, while I was there, I thought I'd do step by step through the engine lift kit that I've got, and just to kind of, you know, walk you through if you wanted to do the mod yourself. So let's have a look at the kit. Yeah, I'll look at that, I think. Sad times. No BMW today. BMW is in for a recall. Yeah, it's gone for a recall. It's some booster T-pipe and some electrical thing, some like sort of connection box which can get a bit like a fire risk or something. And they called me back yesterday, BMW, and apparently it's having a new master cylinder, and it's having this and it's having that. It's all under warranty, which is great. So I'm having a bunch of new parts for free, which is kind of nice. So yeah, all gets done under the BMW warranty, which is even better. So I get to drive a brand new 24 plate 1 Series for a couple of days, which is it's not my old car. Do you know what I mean? I do kind of miss it. But anyway, I digress. So here's our kit. We're on the doorstep again. I'm just gonna take my gloves off. I've already opened it up and had a look and stuff, and I've already printed out the instructions which come on email. So that's that, and that's what we're going to go through today. We're just going to literally go step by step all the way through. There's a few pages, but it's not as daunting as it looks. It seems pretty straightforward. You just got to undo a few things and clear a bit of space, but it's fine. I was kind of halfway through anyway. I just thought I might as well do this. But here's the kit. It's the Creations Motorsport 15mm kit. There's 2 kits available, a 15mm and a 25mm. This is the 15 because my car isn't crazy low, but I think if you're running like coilovers and you're super low to the floor, I think a 25mm kit might be good. And I think the advantage to doing this, there's a couple of things which is the advantage. The advantage to doing a kit like this, what it does do is it just lifts the front of the car up a little bit. Well, sorry, it doesn't lift the front of the car up. It lifts the engine up a little bit. 15mm in my case, I thought was enough just to give me a little bit of clearance from where the sump is pretty close to the floor. I don't know if you noticed on the previous video, it was the old sump that I removed before I put the baffled sump on was a little bit worn, where it just caught in a few places, and sometimes you can catch it on a cat's eye or anything like that, and you can literally rip a big hole in your sump and then you kind of stuff. So yeah, it's more of a preventative thing, but in this case, it'll lift the engine by 15mm, and it'll just give me just a little bit more clearance. And the other benefit is it's all about the position of your drive shafts and the wear on the gearbox. And obviously, when the car's new and the suspension is higher, the sort of drive shafts are fairly level. I think if you get to the point where you lower your car so much so, the angle of the drive shaft becomes more and more severe, and the theory is that it puts more pressure on the gearbox, whereas the engine lift kit should just help level that back up again. You know, put your drive shafts in a more gearbox friendly position of the kind of nearly sort of natural level position. So that's the plan. Is to do that and to lift the sump just a little bit. So I think if we just have a look under the car now, and you can see the position of the sump. I'll be jacking the car up off the floor and doing all the work. But then when it's back down, we should be able to see a noticeable difference. I say noticeable, it's 15mm. So I don't know if you can really see that so much. The sump is quite close to the floor. Okay, so just to give you a bit of so all I've done is I've slackened off the coolant bottle. I have moved the charcoal canister and the power steering pump is free. The water bottle is still annoyingly leaking. But there's quite a bit of fluid in it, so I'm not too concerned. As long as it holds a bit in and stops leaking, it's not so bad. I've just moved the boost pipe out of the way as well, just to give me a bit of access. And I think everything is now loose enough for me to be able to get in and access the bolts at the top of the mount there. And the top of the mount there, I just need to move this thing out of the way, and probably need to remove this as well. The carbonio, get that out of the way. I think once that's done, we should be able to get in and do what we need to do.
So while it's raining, here's the engine mount. I'm going to try and give this a bit of a clean up, I think, but it's a good opportunity to review what's in the box. I'll try and get this in the Sandblaster, I think. We've got all our nuts and bolts, our spacers, and these are the plates that get slotted in between. The longer bolts need to be used over the original ones because the new supplied bolts are long enough to fit through the 15mm spacers. So let's open these up, shall we, and have a look. So we've got one with the recess. That one goes on the driver's side. We've got one without a recess, and that one goes on the passenger side. And just a quick double check, this is the passenger mount I've just taken off, and it does line up perfectly, so it's definitely the right one. Always worth checking before you start. I haven't quite decided yet which way around this thing goes, because it could go one way. Oh, there you go, you could turn it around the other way, or it could go upside down, who knows. I'll have a look, I'll get in there, I'll put it in place, and I'll take it from there, see which one looks like it gives me the cleanest look. I suspect it'll be logo side up, because you'd want the logo on the bottom. In the bag we've got these strange donut shaped washers, spacers. We've got some more spacers, one with a big hole, one with a smaller hole. So there's 3 bolts on each side of the gearbox mount. There's 2 main bolts that go through the chassis leg and through the actual mount, and then there's a smaller bolt which is the one that's holding on the I think it's one of the reservoirs. There's a spacer for that as well, and that's all contained within the bag. And then there's 2 extra bolts which are 15mm longer for the dog bone mount as well, for when it mounts to the gearbox. So I'm going to take our passenger side spacer. I'm just going to slot it into position just to give it a bit of a look and make sure it's the right way up. Make sure there's no issues with fouling on anything. Now we do have a bit of an issue, it's a bit grotty in here. There's a bit of like road debris and filth that's sort of collected over the years, so it might be worth it if you've got the pressure washer handy. Just give it a blast or give it a scrub down. I'm just using a soft brush just to get in there and get the majority of the dirt out. I'll probably use a little bit of WD-40 as well just to loosen everything up and give it a wipe down with a rag afterwards. Beautiful, look at that. Original paintwork underneath, that's what you want to see. Alright, let's crack on. Okay, I've got our mount, I'm just going to slot that in place. It's really tricky under this plastic cowling. You've got to try and get it as high as you can and get it out of the way. I've not actually removed anything off it. In terms of the cowling and stuff, I've just left it in place. I've just kind of lifted it as high as I possibly could. And all I'm doing now is I'm just adjusting the plate just to make sure that it definitely sits over the correct holes and it's not going to foul on anything and cause me any problems. I think that feels right. Logo side up kind of feels right. Let's just try it this way around. I think by the looks of it, I don't think it makes a massive difference either way. As long as the holes line up and it's not fouling anything, I think you're good. But this is kind of how it needs to sit. You can see the gearbox mount attaches to the gearbox and then it bolts through to the chassis leg. I think I'm happy with this. The holes look like they line up nice. It lines up with the chassis leg, feels good. I think I'm going to go with this for now. I think this will be the position. Tell you what though, access under here is an absolute pain. It's going to be a nightmare to put this mount back in place. But we'll give it a go. See what happens. And I've literally just run this through the sandblaster. I think you'll agree it's looking a lot cleaner. Better to clean this thing before it goes back in. So it's looking presentable again. I think it looks good. Time to get it on. Okay, that's in. I did just give it a quick blast of silver paint as well while I was there, just to kind of make it look a bit prettier. It just looks a bit cleaner down there now, you know, so I've just got to get the bolts in. So the next step is slot the mount back into position and use the longer bolts supplied in the kit. So we've got 2 long ones, 2 short ones to replace them. So let's have a look for them. I've got it, I'm being stupid. So it's only these replace these, that one and that one, whereas these ones that's going to the gearbox are exactly the same, so you reuse these ones. And that's why it didn't make sense. I was thinking then, shit, I've got a bolt missing, but it's not. It's fine. I figured it. So we don't need these 2 anymore. We do need these 2 to replace these 2, and these 2 we keep. Okay, so that's the set that's going back in, and that's because that one goes back on top of there. That one goes back on top of there, and then these 2 long ones go through the mount and the plate into the bodywork. So that's why you need to replace these ones. And then don't forget to put that one back in. Right, I've got it, it's lined up. You know what the hardest bit about that was lining up these 2 little bolts there, because obviously you've got to line up the plate, you've got to line up the mount, and then you've got to get the longer bolt through both. So these are just loose. Well, I can't finger turn them, but they are just loose. And then that little washer spacer needs to go in that gap right there. Let's see. without pinching that wire. It just needs to go in there, and then I can put the bolt back through. So the washer that goes in there is that one, and that is the wider hole, that one. That's the narrower hole, and all that does, I say all, it's just, it just gets slotted in there. I need 2 hands, so I'm just going to get on with that. I'm going to slot that in, get the bolt back in, the 13mm back in there, and get that nipped up, and then I can tighten up the gearbox mounts. Okay. So the last step is to ensure all the bolts are tight, refit the trunk in, air filter, air box, and finally the battery cover. So basically I've got to put it all back now, because that side, once I've tightened up those gearbox bolts, 18mm. Yeah mate, yeah mate, alright pal. Yeah, so those 18mm need tightening, those 16mm are done, and the replacement bolt up there is all tight. That's now a 10mm. I think it was a 13 prior, which is that one. I took that out, that's now a 10mm. So I'm going to get back on with putting it all back together.
Okay, we're back. The battery died, but we're back. It's all good. So what have you missed in the time that the battery was charging for? Well, not a lot, to be honest with you. I've literally cracked off two of the nuts on the top of there. I've had something to eat, and I've had a wee. So that's it. That's all you've missed. I just thought I'd grab a new coffee. And then we're fueled and ready to go. So yeah, so now we're on the driver's side. So what does it say next? So on the driver's side, it says again, position the jack under the sump and you can support the engine weight. The weight of the engine. A block of wood can be used on the jack to protect the sump. So take the cover off, header tank drained and removed. Well, I don't really want to do that, to be honest with you. As you can see, I've just precariously sort of placed it over there. I think that's alright. I've got enough movement around it for it to not be an issue. So that's where we're up to with that. It then says the carbon canister needs to be disconnected and removed with the power steering reservoir bolt, and remove the mount brace bolts. Well, yeah, I've kind of done that. I've slackened everything off. I've not disconnected anything. Everything's kind of still where it was, but I'm gonna work with it. Then position the power steering tank reservoir out of the way and remove the brace. So I've slackened off the top 2 nuts, the 2 16mm on the top. So I think I'm about up to here now. So this side, if preferred not to, you don't have to remove the engine mount completely. Remove the 2 16mm bolts and then loosen the 18mm bolts to the engine and raise the engine on the jack carefully until the spacer slides in. Well, that sounds like a plan to me. I like that. It sounds quicker than the other side, because the other side felt like it took forever. I had to keep dodging around as well, which is just flipping typical. So yeah, so that's what I need to do now. I need to take out the 16mm bolts. Go back outside. I need to take out the 2 16mm bolts, which are located at the top, either side of the power steering pump. That one and that one, and then slacken them off with the. See, that one's going to be a pain in the ass to get to. Need to slacken off those 18s. Where is it? It's under there. There it is. You can just see it. Slacken them off. lower the engine down, just so there's enough gap. Actually, do I need to do that? Let me check. Okay. So it says I need to take out the 16s, which are loose, and I need to slacken off the 18s, but I don't understand why if I need to put it in there. The spacer goes underneath this bit. So what I'm going to try and do is leave the 18s, undo the 16s, and jack the engine up so I've got enough space. So, see how that goes. So, recess side up, slot it into that gap. In fact, I'm just going to put a little bit of grease on it. Put the camera in the wrong spot, I think. Okay. So what I definitely don't want to do is get any pipes or wires stuck in there. Yeah, it is. It's fouling on there. So I either need to chop a bit of a lump out of the side of this, or I cut away seam seal on the edge of there. I think for speed I might just take a lump out of this edge. What we've got now, we've got a bit of a lip down that edge. Okay, so hopefully now that'll just sit in there without any issue. A little bit closer. I might end up having to take a bit more off, but I guess we'll see.
Yep, we've gone from sunshine back to rain. And the battery's dead again as well, so now I'm on a cord. But I'm not going to let it stop us, we're nearly there. So, what I've just done is I've got the plate in there now. The little cutout thing, it did work, which was great. I have reattached this little brace here. I've put the little spacer just underneath that guy there, so it all lines up again. So now I've done that, I've just had a look at the box that came, and it begs the question, what are these? This came as part of the kit, but if you look at the front there, 2 engine spacers, which was the rectangular jobbies, these things. Got them, one with a recess, one without. So 2 spacers, 1 blank, 1 gear side, blank for gear side and recess spacer for engine side. Recess up, which we did, plus 2 pause spacers, which I've used. I mean, answers on a postcard. Leave me a comment. What do you think they're for? I've not missed anything, have I? Surely the engine is now sitting 15mm higher. Anyway, so all that's left to do now is to put all the reservoirs back, and yeah, just make sure everything's buttoned up. So I'm going to leave the camera sat over here because you're on charge, and you can just watch me from here, I think. So a dodgy wire on the extension cable means I've not been charging, which is really annoying, but the car is, and there's only one test left to do. I'm just going to clear the floor. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa, that's awesome. Okay, so with the limited battery I've got, I'm going to take you under the car so we can just compare. Now I know the car's been jacked up, so it will be sitting just a midges higher than it was, but it's definitely more room in there now. So yeah, I don't know what these are. I mean, they're nice, but I might find a use for them in the future. But if anybody knows what the hell these things are, and if I was supposed to have used them, you know, let me know. Is it for the gearbox? Does it go on where the dog bone mount sits, maybe? To lift the back of the car up a smidge? You know what, it might be. Let me know. Let me know what you think anyway in the comments. What you think these things are for, and if it is for the dog bone. I think on a dry day, I'll get under and have a look. But yeah, let me know what you think. So yeah, I'm going to wrap up there. If you found the video useful, hopefully you did. I'd recommend you have a go, definitely. I'll just wipe the screen a bit. Oh, made it worse. Oh Jesus, might make me look better. Anyway, I think in summary, would I recommend to you to get that kit? I would, but be confident with the spanners for sure. If you're not sure, get somebody who is confident to help you out, because it was pretty complicated taking all that stuff off and putting everything back on. I mean, this has taken me all afternoon, probably edited it down to probably a 30, hopefully less than a 30-minute video. You know, it's worth doing, I think, but it was pretty tricky. But yeah, so and there's that little bit of modification that was needed on mine. I don't know if anybody else is the same. Just that little bit needs shaving off on the chassis leg, just to avoid that little bit of the manufacturer's seam seal that was in there. I didn't want to just get in there with a hammer and chisel and start chiseling off. You might feel like you want to do that, which is absolutely fine. It's your car, you do what you want, but I thought just shaving off a little bit of metal seemed like more sense to me. And yeah, so it was pretty tricky. Have a go, you know, and if you're not confident, get somebody who knows what they're doing. Get a mate who's handy with the spanners. I mean, we all know somebody, right? And just have a go, you know. So yeah, hopefully you found this video useful. Like and subscribe if you like content like this and you want to see me doing more stuff on the Golf or the Beamer or the other Golf, the Mark 7, which is just over there. Okay, thanks, bye. Wait, don't go anywhere. There's been an update. I've just had a quick look online. Turns out that these are for the dog bone, so I'm actually going to do that right now. It shouldn't take me very long at all. It's just a case of undoing 2 bolts, slipping them little round things in, these little donuts, sliding them in, replacing the bolts for the longer bolts supplied, and then we're done. I promise. Okay. So for anybody who doesn't know what the dog bone mount is, it's that thing there. You can see that mine's polybushed, it's got the yellow end. It comes up to here, it's called the dog bone, purely because of the shape of it. It looks like a dog bone, and apparently these 2 spaces, these 2 donuts we've got, go exactly where these 2, can't even really see my hand, that bolt and that bolt come out, they slot in, and then bolt back up with the new supplied. So that's the longer bolt, that's the shorter bolt. Come on. And that's it. It should be dead straightforward. So I'm going to do that now. Now you don't need to worry about the engine falling out if you undo these, because it's got the other supports holding it all in, so these actually don't do anything except stop the engine rocking back and forth, basically, which is what Polybush is all about. It minimises that back and forth movement. So you can comfortably undo these without any fear. For speed. 1. 2. So the way this works out is it looks like it's connected. Yes, it's connected to the dog bone. So I'm going to put 1 spacer in the top of there and 1 spacer in there. I'm
going to lift the engine just a little bit. In fact, I'm not going to lift the engine at all, because it causes the engine to rotate ever so slightly when I do that. I'm just going to pull the bush down a little bit. So we've got one that goes in there. Oh. Flipping it, that is tight. Good grief. So one that goes in there, which is being well behaved. And one that goes in there, which is not being well behaved. So there is a slight. So in there, see a little bit that's stuck up there. It's been a pain in the ass, to be honest. So you've got to get the donut shaped washer to sit on top of that. Get on with it. Right, lift the engine up a bit. There we go. There we go. That should sit nice. Put that down. Where's my other one? There it is. And this long bolt sits at the back. Brilliant. There we go. That's got it. And then the other one's just fell out, which is there. And then that's the shorter bolt. Is that 16mm? Yep. That's not a 16mm, that's bigger. And that is that. So that is it, that is up now. So that's that. So put the engine, put the dog bone mounts in, put it back down, and that's the whole kit, everything installed. It's funny because I was looking at the instructions again and there's absolutely no mention of the dog bone spacers in there, but it kind of, if I think about it, makes sense that the engine goes up and it'll tip the gearbox back, so it wouldn't actually need to bring the gearbox up as well, so it kind of makes sense. It's kind of what I was thinking at the time, but yeah, so forget all those comments about leaving me a comment as to what you think. That is definitely what it is. So I'm just going to put the car back on the floor now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.
In the garage under the bright light, Slick Rick's got the tools ready to ignite. With a wrench in hand, he shares his know-how. Teaching the world, come on, let's get it now. Oil changes, brakes, and mufflers too. He's breaking it down, showing what to do.